Hi, I'm Mark Ellison from 5 Daily Trivia Questions, and I've got some wickedly bad news for you. This week is Villains Week, where we'll be celebrating the most memorable antagonists from pop culture. Every day we'll focus on a different set of iconic villains, from James Bond's greatest foes to Star Wars' Dark Side, Disney's animated antagonists, Batman's rogues gallery, and horror's most terrifying monsters. I've got a villain question for you right now. Which James Bond villain had steel teeth and appeared in 2 films, The Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker? Was it Odd Job, Jaws, or Blofeld? If you knew it was Jaws, then you're going to love what we have in store. And if you didn't know, well, there's no better time to learn about these unforgettable characters. Join us for Villains Week on 5 Daily Trivia Questions. Subscribe for free right now, wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, sometimes it's good to be bad.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Calaroga Shark Media.
From Washington, D.C., where there are no tariffs on podcasts yet, this is Ballot.
That's right, podcasts are free, as long as you don't mind 3 gambling ads. Good morning, I'm Patrick Gutfield, and President Trump's latest tariffs kicked in just after midnight on Wednesday. And boy, did he go all out this time. He's hitting nearly all U.S. allies with punishing new levies while jacking up import taxes on Chinese goods to more than 100%. That's right, 100%. He's basically saying, if you want to sell us your stuff, it'll cost you. Your stuff. China didn't waste any time hitting back with their own tariffs, set to kick in at noon Eastern. Meanwhile, the European Union is getting ready to approve their own retaliation plan. It's like a global economic game of tag, you're broke. The stock markets are absolutely loving this situation. If by loving, I mean plummeting faster than my self-esteem when I try on last year's swim trunks. Losses have been mounting worldwide since Trump announced these tariffs last week. Even government bonds are getting dragged into this mess now, and those are supposed to be the safe investments. You know things are bad when the financial equivalent of hiding money under your mattress starts looking risky. Rising bond yields mean borrowing costs go up for mortgages, credit cards, and business loans, which is exactly what the Trump administration doesn't want. They've been trying to make debt cheaper, not more expensive. Nothing supports economic growth like affordable debt. That's the American way. Here in America, the S&P 500 is teetering on the edge of a bear market. For those unfamiliar with financial terms, a bear market is when stocks fall so much that Wall Street executives have to start making their own coffee. Trump's tariffs are causing some of his biggest supporters to have second thoughts. You know things are getting serious when even the people who helped elect you are saying, hang on a minute, I didn't sign up for this financial apocalypse. Joe Rogan, Dave Portnoy, and Ben Shapiro, the holy trinity of dudes who podcast from rooms with exposed brick walls, are suddenly wondering if these tariffs might be a bad idea. Who could have possibly seen this coming? Besides economists and historians. And people who passed high school social studies. Ben Shapiro, who initially backed Ron DeSantis before jumping on the Trump train, said the tariff rollout was about as bad a rollout as you could do. Coming from the guy who talks faster than an auctioneer on espresso, that's saying something. In a video to his 7 million YouTube subscribers, Shapiro said the idea that tariffs make us rich is really problematic and untrue. Wow, Ben Shapiro calling something from Trump untrue? That's like your most loyal dog suddenly looking at you and saying, you know what? I'm not fetching that ball anymore. Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports opened his financial live stream with, "Welcome to Orange Monday." Portnoy claims he's lost $20 million because of these tariffs, which is about 15% of his net worth. That's the financial equivalent of finding out your favorite sports team not only lost, but also somehow set the stadium on fire. But don't worry, Portnoy says he's sticking with Trump because they're smarter than me when it comes to these tariffs. Nothing inspires confidence in economic policy quite like, I have no idea what's happening, but I trust the guy who bankrupted multiple casinos. Joe Rogan, who endorsed Trump right before the election, called the president's feud with Canada stupid and complained that Canadians booed us over tariffs at sporting events. When you've made Canadians mad enough to boo, you know you've crossed a line. These are people who apologize when you step on their foot. Even Elon Musk is skeptical about the tariffs, saying they would drive up costs for Tesla. When asked about this, White House trade advisor Peter Navarro said Musk doesn't understand the situation. That's right. The guy who builds rockets that land themselves in tunnels under cities doesn't understand basic economics. Makes perfect sense. Musk fired back on Tuesday, calling Navarro truly a moron and dumber than a sack of bricks. Who knew that Department of Government Efficiency didn't include efficient communication between advisors? Hedge fund manager Bill Ackman warned that we are heading for a self-induced economic nuclear winter unless Trump changes course. Nothing says everything is fine, quite like comparing your economic policy to nuclear war. Trump has a brand new plan for immigrants facing deportation, pay up or pack up. According to reports, he's planning to fine migrants $998 a day if they don't leave the country. $998 a day? That's oddly specific, right? Not $1,000, $998. I guess even when imposing crippling financial penalties, someone in the administration is still looking for those $2 savings. $1,000 seems harsh. Let's make it $998. We're not monsters. According to Reuters, Trump is invoking a 1996 law to impose these penalties on migrants under deportation orders. And get this, if they don't pay the fines, their property can be seized and sold. That's right. The government will take your couch, your microwave, maybe even that novelty singing fish on your wall. Nothing says welcome to America like leaving without your Billy Bass. A senior Trump official said these fines would be applied retroactively too. Some immigrants with long-standing deportation orders could be hit with penalties exceeding $1 million. DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin said immigrants who are in the U.S. illegally should use the CBP Home app to self-deport and leave the country now. Yes, there's an app for that. Coming soon, Uber Deport, 5 stars, would flee again. If they don't, they will face the consequences, McLaughlin added. I guess when they said, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, they didn't mention your wallets, your savings accounts, and your furniture too. Ever notice how the villains often steal the show? All this week, 5 Daily Trivia Questions celebrates these scene stealers with a special Villains Week event. Host Mark Ellison will take you on a journey through the fascinating world of antagonists, from the methodical Hannibal Lecter to the magical Maleficent, the calculating Moriarty to the chaotic Joker. What, no electric car manufacturers? Each day brings 5 new questions about the characters that push our heroes to their limits, and sometimes make us question which side we're really on. Whether you're a pop culture expert or just appreciate a good antagonist, Villains Week offers something for everyone. It's the perfect blend of entertainment and education that 5 Daily Trivia Questions is known for. It's Villains Week on 5 Daily Trivia Questions, available wherever you get your podcasts. Because sometimes it's good to be bad. Tired of doom scrolling? Want news that won't make you want to live in a bunker? Check out 5 Good News Stories, where they find the silver lining in a world that's usually lined with something much less pleasant. The gang at 5 Good News Stories dig through the headlines to find 5 stories that prove humanity hasn't completely lost its mind. It's pretty much the opposite of this show. From scientific breakthroughs nobody's talking about to random acts of kindness that restore your faith in humanity, all delivered with the cutting wit you deserve. 5 Good News Stories, because sometimes the news doesn't have to suck. Subscribe to 5 Good News Stories wherever you get your podcasts. The New York Times is wondering, what will happen to the handbags? Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a national crisis on our hands. They explain that Trump slapped 20% tariffs on European goods, and luxury brands are panicking. That's right. The real victims of international trade policy are checks notes. People who buy $900 wallets. Just a month ago, luxury businesses were dreaming of well-heeled buyers splurging on opulent ball gowns and statement watches. Now they're wondering if Americans will still pay $5,000 for a quilted Chanel bag when it suddenly costs $6,000. The horror, the injustice. And now luxury is in a very tough spot. You know who else is in a tough spot? Everyone else in America. But please, let's all worry about how this affects Dior. When asked for comment, every single luxury brand declined. Doug Hand, a fashion lawyer for independent American brands, described his clients as biting their nails and pulling their hair out. That's what happens when you can't afford therapy because you spend all your money on cashmere sweaters. So sleep tight, America. Your $8,000 handbags might soon cost $9,600. But at least we're making America great again for people who resell vintage Rolexes. Portions of today's show were made with the help of Joe Rogan, AI, and the guy selling fake Rolexes on 34th Street.